The following is an original audio series from Sierra International Machinery, Pile of Scrap, with your host, John Sacco.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Pile of Scrap, coming to you from my house in Bakersfield, California, during this crazy COVID-19 quarantine special. Some of us in the recycling industry are still going in. We're an essential supplier of raw materials for critical manufacturing. And today I am joined with my daughter, Giovanna Amelia. Giovanna, welcome.
Thank you for having me, or thanking
for demanding.
Thank myself for having me.
Yeah, well, it took a while to get you to say yes to this, but
I guess that's what happens when you're bored.
Well, you know what? The Pile of Scrap is as you know, you helped produce the very first Pile of Scrap. You were behind the scenes on the very first Pile of Scrap episode.
I was behind the scenes on everything, creating the name, the image, the description, the RSN for the iTunes and the Spotify. So, yeah.
Yeah, so
I did have a hand in creating.
Yeah, you had a big hand in figuring out how we do this, and so it's kind of fun to have you here. You know, I did a podcast back a couple months ago in March. Well, yeah, back in March, and we were talking about how you were in Europe. You were a semester abroad, and all the craziness to get you home because it was some crazy times. So tell us about what was going on, what you were doing, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, I swear I've told this story probably like 500 times now.
Well, 501.
But we were over there, and we kind of every day woke up and read the news and saw how it was just progressively kind of getting worse.
Where?
And in this new...
Over where?
I was in Budapest. Budapest, Hungary. The most underrated city in Europe, I have to say. I would 100% recommend for anyone who's looking for a different but fantastic European vacation. But anyway, so in this day and age, I think we're so used to like a really quick stream of news where something will be on the hot seat for about 2 to 4 days, and then all of a sudden you'll wake up one day and you won't hear about it again. So, I think we were all kind of expecting that with the coronavirus, like waking up one day and it wouldn't be the top headline, but it wasn't that case. We woke up every day and it was getting worse, and we were monitoring it, and honestly, we kind of felt like sitting ducks. A lot of other colleges were pulling their kids, and, USC was monitoring it and emailing us, but they hadn't pulled the trigger yet, and so we were just kind of sitting there waiting for it to kind of blow up, and it did. I happened to be in London getting ready for
St. Patrick's Day, right?
I was going to be in London for 2 days and then fly to Dublin for the St. Patrick's Day weekend. So I was geared up for a great weekend, staying with my best friends in London. And we were having a cheese and wine night, and we turned on Trump's
speech which we have on here.
From the Oval Office, and it was probably 1:30 in the morning, European time. And we turned it on, and immediately he said, travel from Europe stops on Friday. And everyone kind of looked at me, and obviously I was their first concern because, my home base wasn't the UK or Ireland. So my friends were like, you got to get back to Budapest, like now. And I was like, I got to get back to the States. So obviously called mom.
Yeah, I remember the phone call. Get me out of here.
Yeah. So I was on the first flight out of Gatwick to Budapest on Thursday morning, so that was an 8 a.m. flight. I pulled an all-nighter, got to Gatwick at 6 a.m., just a mess. And so I went back to Budapest on Thursday, packed all my things, had one last dinner with a couple of my roommates that were still there and friends that were still there, and then got a few hours of sleep and left back for the Budapest airport at 4 a.m. on Friday morning for my flight at 7 back to London, and then London back to LAX.
So on that flight, you were with George Adams' son, Jordan, and his first cousin, Alex, who we've traveled with in China and in Africa together.
Yeah, so Alex and I, we're scrap kids, Scrap family. And so Alex and I actually met up in Budapest earlier in the semester.
He was where?
He was in Nice, France. So his program pulled the plug as soon as ours did too. And then Jordan, George's son, happened to be over there for spring break. He was one of the brave ones that went over internationally for spring break. And we ended up all meeting up in the Netherlands the weekend before everything happened. And then the next weekend, we all met up again, but at Heathrow to go home. So it was crazy, but it was definitely funny.
Okay, so you get home, you go over to the beach, and you spend your 14 days in quarantine by yourself.
Isolation, 14 days.
What was that like? 14 days with nobody around you?
I loved it.
You needed the rest.
Yeah, I needed the rest. I needed the isolation. Being abroad is it's always a group effort. It's always, you're with the group, you're traveling with the group, you're eating dinner with the group. So honestly, after 6 weeks of that, it was nice to kind of
Safety in numbers.
Yeah.
See,
yeah,
you
no, yeah.
You had to go through some safety training at Sierra, so see?
Yeah.
You learned it. So during quarantine, I got a few calls from you thinking you had some of the symptoms.
I definitely think I had it. I was exposed to 2 people that were confirmed tested positive that I was with on my last night, and obviously none of us had any idea. So I just think that shows that...
What were your symptoms?
I didn't have any, obviously, like, severe symptoms. I woke up... so I landed back in the U.S. on Friday.
Right.
I woke up that following Monday with a scratchy throat, nothing too bad, just probably like what I would normally get after a long weekend of, going out or traveling or whatever. So I didn't think anything of it. I just thought my body was run down. Then 2 days later, I woke up with no taste or a lost sense of smell. And so at the time, I didn't really think anything of it. This was before that losing taste and smell came out as a symptom. So I was just like, maybe I burned myself on my detox tea or,
Which I kept telling you, Giovanna, relax.
Yeah, he kept telling me it was, but I was still like, something's weird. And so anyway, I got my taste back like 4 days later, the longest I've ever gone without having taste, and that was weird. It is so weird.
It's interesting because an employee of ours, his wife, who's a nurse, just tested positive. So of course he goes home, can't come to work, so they wanted to test him. Well, his test comes up, he has the antibody. So he's had it, he had 0 symptoms. So that's crazy. And so your Uncle Gino was down for 2 weeks, severe bronchitis. This is early February. Your brother, Giancarlo, he had really bad bronchitis. And we think, and the doctors think, without a doubt, they haven't been tested for them, but they had it.
Yeah.
I don't think, because nobody
knew.
And
honestly, it might be interesting to get them tested and just see if they have the antibody. Why not know? In 40 years, 20 years, we're going to be telling, the younger generations about it, and it might be not cool, but it'd be like,
it's a good story.
I had it. I survived COVID-19.
All right, so you're in your junior year at USC, University of Southern California, and you had to leave, but you're doing your classes.
Yeah, luckily my university in Budapest had the technology to continue all of our classes online. It's totally not bad. I do have to wake up at 5 a.m. one day a week to do a live like a Zoom
I think anybody who listens to it, 20-year-olds don't like getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's definitely not fair for the West Coast kids. The East Coast kids have a little bit better, but West Coast kids kind of got screwed.
All right, so school will be finished for you, May?
Yeah, I have 3 more weeks of actual class, and then I don't have any finals because they just said screw the finals. So I have a couple big papers, but after that, it kind of comes to a very easy stop.
Okay, so you have an internship this summer, which we've all been excited about, but it's kind of changed. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in October, I was offered a job at Boeing in El Segundo, their El Segundo campus, for the summer. It's kind of a dream when you are told your whole college career that your junior year summer means everything, and you land your perfect internship and you think everything's great. And I have so many amazingly talented friends that landed companies, from Microsoft to JLL to Paramount to, law firms. I just have, a lot of smart friends that also work in such great places. And I'm very fortunate that Boeing has now extended to us the courtesy of, keeping our jobs alive. We will be virtual for the entire summer. I don't have any more details at the moment, but I know I will be getting paid and there will be work to do. It is all virtual, but I'm grateful that they are giving us a chance to work.
And some of your friends had their...
So many of my friends at large, really well-known companies had their programs completely canceled. I had friends in the last stages of interviews, and they were right there, ready to secure that perfect internship, and they just canceled the program.
So Boeing, Sierra, Boeing, I don't know. I don't see the attraction.
I am excited, but I just think that a lot of the conversation has been about, the seniors losing their last semester of college, and obviously feel so bad for all the seniors out there, and I am sending them, all my support that I can, but also it's a huge loss for the junior class this summer. No matter what industry you are in, this summer is huge. Most people will get that internship, whether it's like a paid or unpaid. You are going to have an internship that will affect your post-grad job offer. And a lot of juniors right now are getting completely screwed out of it. And it kind of puts our class in a weird spot going into senior year because we don't know what we like. We never got to experience the company culture. We never got to go into the office or, put on that suit or like really get a vibe of the people at the company. So I think it really puts our class into question of like, where do we go from here?
Well, look, it's like anything else. The things will change. I think the economy, we're going to come out of this, states are opening up as we speak, and here we are.
Plus, my 21st birthday's in 3 weeks.
What, you don't want it shut down?
No.
Oh, well. So for your 21st birthday party, what do you really want to do?
I want to go to a bar.
well, that's in May, so let's hope that May everything opens up and you get the 21st birthday you want. But I want to thank you for finally coming on Pile of Scrap with your dad.
It's been a long time coming.
But I think a lot of parents and a lot of people who see this and listen to our podcast are in similar situations. I know I talked to many people who watch this podcast and listen to it that had kids overseas and they had to come home, and everybody's dealing with this quarantine and having families together for probably a little longer than most of us are used to.
Yeah,
we're not so used to having you around so much. But it's been great. Look, you are an amazing cook, by the way. I want to tell you, she can cook, and having her around is fantastic because dinner's just like, what are we going to have for dinner? And
it is my only fun of the day. I will have to say that.
Well, you can't go out. I get it.
And my White Claw.
And your White Claw. Hey, we've had some good bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Oops, you're not 21 yet.
Oh
no. Well, anyway, everyone, listen. I thought this would be interesting to get a family perspective from the COVID-19 quarantine, special that we're all in right now. And I want to thank everybody for listening and watching. And Giovanna, thank you for coming on. And that's it for another episode of
Pile Scrap.
This has been a Sierra International Machinery original audio series. Thanks for listening. Please share this podcast and make sure to subscribe.